Hi, my name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to Sassy Seer Sheila and New Light Streaming Love, as this will be seen on both channels. I am joined again today by my good friends Lisa Flamino Rush and Summer Isabel. And we decided we were going to talk about, and I did call this, by the way, ladies, this is a new um, however many often we're going to do this, perspectives on dis-ease and illness, because there's a lot of different perspectives to be looked at, I feel.
Mhm.
And we were kind of wondering what we were going to chat about. And Summer brought parasites to the fore. And I think that's a really good topic, actually. Really good topic. Lisa was saying she thought so too,
Yep.
because it does seem to be everywhere.
Yes. I
The
think it's
algorithms certainly have picked it up. Let's just say that.
yeah, that's for sure. Whether it's being pushed or
Yeah,
driven, I'm not sure, but it's there. There
I'm
it is.
glad to know you're seeing it too, because I was wondering, is this just me? Is this just
No.
my algorithm?
Mm-mm.
Well, let me just share
And
with you
mine
guys
too.
that I had written, first of all, Lisa wrote an essay about the mind virus, actually before coronavirus took place.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what was that, 2017 or 2018 when you wrote that?
Yep.
Yeah, one of those two. One of those two.
Yeah, it was either like the end of 17 and beginning of 18, somewhere in there.
Right.
Circa 17, 18.
And it was I want to say more than a year ago, that I started noticing more and more was being talked about in regards to parasites on the whole.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it really has reached a bit of a fever pitch in many ways. I'll call it that at this rate.
Yeah, it really has.
Um,
Lisa, can you remind us or maybe just encapsulate what you were talking about when you were talking about the mind virus?
Yes. So basically it was a metaphor for sort of the state of affairs on planet Earth, that humanity had a mind virus, that humanity had lost their way. Sort of we moved away from nature, and we were and actually looking back at it now, because I wrote this a very long time ago, I would say that we were really mind controlled, mind driven, and that we were going to have to, that because of that mind virus, we had become a universal threat, or a cosmic threat, if you will, just not unlike a cancer. And so that the universal immune system had been activated, and that over the next coming short time, we were going to see the cleanup, and it was going to look messy. Um, and the metaphor for a healing crisis, or the Herk, Herkimer
the
uh,
Herkimer effect.
response, was exactly what we were feeling and seeing in our world. And so, basically chin up, because it's a cleanup process, from this mind virus. So that's what the essay was about. It's
And I'll be honest with you, Lisa, I kind of saw your essay to go even farther than that for me.
okay.
And now what I'm being shown too is that at the
Maybe we could
time,
find it and read it, because I hardly, these things come through me. They don't come from me, by the way.
yeah, and the original essay was recorded by me, and placed on Conscious Conversation Central.
Right?
Yep. And
Okay, let's see if I can find it really fast.
yeah.
So what were you saying, Sheila?
Well,
Your
what I was saying about it was that for me, and Lisa triggered it right then when she talked about the macrophages having shown up in the universal cleanup. Now, the truth of the matter is there was a hashtag
Hold
that was
on.
started back then about hashtag universal cleanup.
Mhm.
And I feel like even though that may not be being used so much anymore, I feel as though that cleanup is still going on and could be behind why it's being shown so much more now, right? The parasite
No,
thing.
thank you for bringing that up. Like the multidimensional aspect of it.
Right,
Like it's bigger than just the state of affairs
right,
or the state of affairs, like your health, your
right.
how you are, because there's also like interdimensional aspects to it all. So that's also parasitic in nature. So
exactly.
I know exactly what you mean. And we were talking about the subtle bodies at that time. And so that's really a key piece, really, of it.
Right,
Um,
because parasites are not just physical things, entities taking over inside your body, affecting your health. Like and you could say part of the mind virus had a parasitic theme to it. Like that was part
yes,
of the virus itself. Like we all a lot of our systems are parasitic. The way that, reality is set up here is very parasitic from the foundation, right?
mhm.
Exactly.
So, and it's just like, so yeah, there's so many there's multiple layers to the whole thing. Like everything, right?
No, you're so right.
It's all
And
connected, comes to mind. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
it's a whole thing for sure.
Yeah, and so sometimes I feel like it's like you were alluding to, I think, Sheila, like are we being bombarded with this information as like a tactic or something? Because sometimes it feels like that. It's like a
It
scare
does.
tactic. And
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like it's just over the top, like, okay, I'm so tired of like hearing about parasites and because it's just like it the more that whatever you're visually seeing or listening to on a daily basis, it really does affect you, right?
Mhm.
So it just like I've found it kind of wearing me down. Like I don't want to think about these parasites all the time because it makes me feel like it makes me feel like there's an enemy to be fighting all the time, right? It's
Right.
like this battle that has to be waged. And yeah, in a way, like, and then there's also the whole that over theme too of like how we are thinking that way, that it's us versus them, it's a battle between light and dark. It's and the if you follow the conspiracy or disclosure um communities and stuff, it's constant, like they did this, like the David Wilcock, that last thing, like he was targeted, and all this stuff. And so it's continuously just keeping this ball rolling in this warring, theme.
Well, I'll be honest with you. For me, I'm now seeing very clearly um, things aren't appearing out there at random. And the reason I say that is that we are producing reality. Whether we want to believe that or not,
Right.
We are actually
We are the
producing.
creators.
That's right.
of the
We
rainbow.
really are the creators. Everybody got to get over themselves and realize that, because I mean, we're being shown. And I really feel as though the whole reason it's out there is, again, the battle is within. Ladies and gentlemen, make
Mhm.
no mistake, the battle is within, and there is no light and dark. Hate to break it to you, but it's all one thing. It really is, and to divide it in any sort of way is doing all of yourself a total injustice.
Thank you for that
Because
reminder.
yes, we carry dark and light within us, period, end of story. And if you don't like your
And
dark
all
part,
the shades of gray
that's
in
right.
between.
That's right. That is absolutely correct. And I see what is happening on the world scale as humanity finally taking out all of its dirty laundry and laying it out for themselves to see, because they can't see it on the inside. Because if they could look at the inside, it wouldn't get out there, because they
Exactly.
handle it from in here, so they don't gotta put their dirty laundry out there for all to see.
Mhm.
I did not understand that Teal Swan actually said in 2016, humanity decided to take a good look at themselves, and they elected Donald Trump to help them. And boy, think of it through that lens. She was right
Yeah.
in such a huge way. No matter what you think or what you feel about anybody else,
Mhm.
anything you point your finger at, you better turn around and look inside, because there's a whole bunch of that going on up in here. That's exactly what I now know for myself.
Mhm.
And so I feel you on that, Summer. I don't want to think about it either, to be honest with you. However, I also cannot unsee the fact that because I remember having this conversation with my great grandmother about how back in the day there was some deworming and some deparasiting going on at least twice a year
On the regular.
on
Yeah.
the regular, because they had to do that for the animals and the people all across the board.
Yeah.
We got away from that because we think civilized medicine has handled all that, when in fact, it's actually gotten worse, in my view. And
Mhm.
so, but everybody has to look at all of their stuff for themselves and make those, judgments. But Lisa, you did send that to me, and did you? I mean, I'm happy to. It's not a very long read. Do you all want me
Yeah,
to read?
if you want to, if we've moved on, no big deal, but I did
No,
find it, so I wanted to
personally,
send it.
I think it's apropos.
Mhm.
Lisa wrote this, published it on her Heart Songs Musing WordPress, December 1st, 2017.
Oh, there you go.
Hello, friend. My heart has something it would like to share. Oh, wow. And I want to cry now all of a sudden.
Oh my.
So let me get right to the
Okay.
point. We are beginning to see the healing that is now taking place on planet Earth. This healing is something you might not yet be aware of. Humanity suffers from something I will call a mind virus. Man has forgotten who he is, and in this state of amnesia, he has become very lost. Humanity has lost its way. This mind virus has triggered the universal immune system. The reason for my heart message today is the macrophages have arrived. The white blood cells are here, and the healing has begun. The trouble with healing is the cleanup activities the white blood cells are doing creates a mess. In other words, when one begins to heal, one can experience something that is often referred to as a healing crisis. This is when the symptoms worsen for a time as the body deals with the offending cells that are wreaking havoc in the body. These offending cells are being disposed of. This, of course, is paramount importance, extremely necessary if we are to survive this mind virus. Today, I feel humanity's healing crisis has begun. I am prompted to share my heart message with you today to empower you. Knowledge is power. Here is what my heart knows. The mind virus is being revealed right now. All of the signs or symptoms of this mind virus are now going to come out of the shadows and into the light, that we may see them for what they are and shed them. One by one, we will be getting an up-close look at the mind virus at work in the human mind collective. Only then can we isolate the mind virus for removal. Please don't confuse the symptoms of the mind virus as the virus itself. What we are seeing today is only a symptom of the virus, the effects, if you will. You may find yourself feeling shocked and confused. That is perfectly normal under the circumstances. We are just beginning to see now the depth and the breadth of the situation. Wow, that feels even stronger right this moment, Lisa. And there's no mistake. We're covering this today.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Please remember, the good news is this is a healing crisis. Healing is underway, and you can help. This virus has informed every aspect of human life on planet Earth. Nothing and no one is unaffected. Since it is the mind that has been targeted by this virus, it is imperative that we move into our hearts at this moment in time. As this cleanup work is underway, it will be most beneficial to tune in and listen to the messages coming from your heart. That's so important, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
So important. The human heart is connected to the source of all that is. We have been trained to let the collective mind do all our thinking for us. This has caused a great imbalance. It is imperative that we begin to let the heart inform the mind. The mind is important, yes, even necessary, but it should not be running the show. I am asking you to get acquainted with your heart and feel what it wants. The things we will be learning and looking at over the coming months will be hard to look at for sure. Think of this phase as painful, uncomfortable, and even shocking as it may be, as a necessary step in the healing process. You cannot change something you don't acknowledge. We are lancing a boil, and it's not pretty, but will, in the long run, bring great relief to humanity. So, as the flood of information comes at you in the coming days and weeks ahead, I ask you to take it easy, get lots of rest, and stay as calm as you can muster. Your heart will guide you in this process. Now is the time for extreme self-care. I cannot express enough how important water and nutrition is to the healing process. It is nearly impossible to heal when you are toxic. Detoxification is a messy but necessary step in healing. Humanity is going to be purging the toxic elements of the collective mind. Water is so important in this process. Our physical body is changing due to the arrival of the white blood cell. We are in the purging phase. If you can go with it and release all that is not serving you, you will have a much easier time of it. If you resist the purge, you will suffer. Suffering is not a requirement here, but a consequence. The purge will happen with or without your cooperation. Your participation can quicken your own personal healing and contribute to the healing for humanity as a whole. Ask your heart what it wants you to do and do it. I think I'll stop here for now. I'll be back to share more later. Thank you for your attention. I love you with all my hearts. Lisa Marie Flamino Rush. I am so grateful to you, girl.
Oh,
Do you know how prescient this was?
yeah. When I look back on it, it was shocking because it was, prior to the virus.
Well, prior to that virus, and
All
actually
that
that was prior to
transpired
what I
from
saw
then.
Teal Swan say.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't see this as, because I saw her thing a long time after she had put it out. And I knew what she had said was correct. And I didn't even see this as that then, but that's why I said how prescient this actually was for that time.
Wow.
Because we hadn't even gone over to, we went to Knoxville in October, but the rest of it didn't happen until January of 2018. So, yep.
And here we are, what, 8 years later or something,
Yep.
We're in the throes of it.
Yep.
still happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Things
Well,
take a little bit longer here on the third dimension, don't they?
yes. Well, I was just thinking too about how Sheila and I were talking the other day, and I was just so upset about how long it's taking me to heal. Like, I just want to be better now. Like, I just want to be over all of this illness and physical struggle that I have within my body still and yet.
See.
And we had to kind of make peace with that. Well, first of all, it took me a whole 58 years to get into that condition in the first place. And it was probably going to take longer than, a
5 minutes.
to reverse all of that. So, time is relative, right? It took me forever to get here, but now I want to return home in just a moment, a twinkling of the eye.
Well,
It's
see, that's
as
part of
long as
that
it
mind
takes,
virus, isn't it?
apparently. It
Because
is.
we've been taught that, well, if you just do this
Pop
and
this pill or,
that's
yeah,
right.
have
And,
this surgery,
yeah,
you're fine.
the culture of immediacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and there was something else I was thinking of, pertaining to Sheila, you were touching on it with the looking within, because that's really where, the out there gets
Yep.
out there. It's us projecting our inner conflicts, right?
Right.
So, in line with inner conflicts, my whole illness, which I'm starting to learn now from reading the Super Gut, I highly recommend it. It is showing me that is like the root cause, I believe, of every ailment I now have, which is we have some colonies. So our bodies are loaded with colonies of
Bacteria.
bacteria.
Yep.
I wanted to say probiotics, but not all are pro, right? So yeah.
No, some are pre.
Um, yeah. Well, and also some are not pro, but con.
Oh,
Con bacteria.
I gotcha.
Where they're just in the
No.
wrong place, you know,
Right.
and the wrong
Yes.
numbers.
Yes. There can be, yeah, too much of a good thing spoils it, right?
And in the wrong place, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And so I could see now that my own microbiome within my body is a metaphor for this big picture um, situation we have going on the planet. We have people overstepping their boundaries, and they're doing things that they're not created for or isn't in balance. That's not where they are to be, and it's creating illness in the entire body. And so I have been like trying to familiarize myself with the bacteria that are present and where they are and what they're doing, and then work with them, like feed them, bring peace to my inner biome, bring balance, bring nourishment, bring love. And as I've been doing that, because I'm making yogurt over here for um, recolonizing my system with things that have been killed off due to all the antibiotics and the diet that I've had that was, less than stellar for my health. And all of that has brought up things within me, like being mad at myself for allowing this whole mess to take place in the first place. And then for the mess that's I've been stressed out and mad at that too. And I've really had to make peace with my health right where I am, as I sit today, the way things are. I just have to accept it and be okay with it in order to have the power to change it. Because anything I resist persists. Because when I'm mad at it, that anger blocks up, stops up, gums up my liver. And my liver can't function the way it needs to. And so that anger at myself begins to destroy myself. It like literally damages my body and my good health even further. So being mad at it actually creates cortisol. And cortisol has created the inflammation, the systemic inflammation that is causing, at this point in time, RA, lupus, you know, these things, the Crohn's, these issues that my body is having stem directly from my mind virus, the being at war with myself, what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and doing this, but wanting to do this. Like that's all inner conflict. And that inner conflict from my mind is creating conflict and disease in my body. And so coming to terms with that has really set me free. First of all, I now know that, okay, I made this mess, so I can clean this up. Definitely an empowering realization. Secondly, just acknowledging what is and loving myself anyway. Okay, so I made a mess of things. Oh, well, I didn't, but did it kill you? No, I'm still here, which means I have the power to act. And so now that I have made peace with my body, I can act in harmony with it, which now changes from inner war or conflict to inner peace. And now I'm going from creating war and disease to creating peace and health and well being. And so that is a super powerful thing to acknowledge and then to participate in. And I'm beginning to also wake up to just the act of me cleaning up my own act, right? And getting transforming my own war into peace and my own, dis-ease into ease and grace with my health and my well-being. I'm literally offering that up. That is what I am projecting to the world at large to create my community with. So I get the benefit first, right, by living right now in peace, harmony, and well-being. And I can congratulate myself, I can love myself, I can be proud of myself because I'm adding to the peace, the harmony, the well-being of all of humanity by just cleaning up this little mess right here.
Yep.
How powerful is that? And I'm not the only one here. And so when each one of us begin to, just look at our own situations and decide to love it and put down the fight with it, we benefit immediately from, the inner conflict disappearing and the peace and the harmony appearing instantly. I mean, you don't have to wait for a test result or for blood work to prove you feel it. You feel the peace and the joy and the creativity return, the energy come back, and all of those things are instantaneous. And then now I know that at least I am projecting, I am creating what I wish to experience in the greater world at large. And maybe it's not happening all at once or as fast as I wanted to, but I can definitely point at things now and say, oh, look, that's changed in my lifetime. And that's really big. We
Yeah,
used to do it like this. And now look what we're doing.
right.
And that's exciting and empowering too. I mean, that's a thrill, actually.
Well,
I'm changing the world.
no, that's your point. You actually are bringing up a really huge point to me. For me, in regards to, you know, by taking it inward first and then just being that,
Mhm.
because it really wasn't that long ago when you and I first started doing these kinds of conversations. I just
Yeah.
wanted you to hurry up and tell me what it is about spirituality you knew
Yeah.
so I could be where you were.
And I thought I could.
Yeah, you did. You thought you could. And I just knew you could.
Right?
But what I now know is none of us have that sort of power. Each
Mm.
being, and I'll tell you what, for me, what did it though, what I finally saw for myself and why I always speak to this. We have to realize that almost everything we have ever thought was true is not. It may be little partial bits and pieces of it, but it's not the fullness of
Right.
what actually is going on.
Okay.
And each one of us, bar none on the planet, have been told from the time we're born not to trust our own eyes, our own ears, our own hearts. Oh, that's not real. All the things. Everybody's heard this for yourself.
Yeah.
As you were a kid, you were told, well, that's not true. That doesn't exist. And that sort of thing. And that's where it starts to not trust yourself.
By
And
the way,
so,
you're essentially a sinner.
oh, absolutely,
Right?
because there's that
You
too.
came in flawed.
I always wanted to know what the hell? How is that even possible?
I
But
know.
okay. So for me, I see very clearly that the very first thing I had to do was realize I was a programmed and conditioned being that had some pretty deep grooves of what I thought reality actually was. And I had to realize that that is not at all the case. And that every last one of us on this planet have the God-given right to question everything. Everybody does. And that, my friends, is the only way out of any of this for yourself. And that's the whole point of getting in here and trusting only you. That's the one thing that why I say about having it out there for us all to see. That's really up for grabs too, isn't it? Misinformation, disinformation, cheap fakes, deep fakes, masks, clones, whatever the hell we're all asked to believe. You gotta get in here and see what you really feel about all of that and trust only self, because that's what this is all about for me. I see that so very clearly now. It doesn't matter what's being shown out there. I can bring every bit of it right back to here, every bit of it right back to myself, and see that the name of this game is sovereignty. You're going to trust you or you're going to trust somebody else. This is the basic question we got going on here. And it goes to everything, every single thing, including that mind virus. I think it starts there, actually, because the mind will tell, yeah, but, don't forget, we were told this is what's written. Oh, is it really? Are you sure? Because I've been seeing a lot of things that would say that ain't exactly so. And so it takes some trust in self and some experimentation along with all of that questioning. Um, but I would say that's imperative at this point. At least that's where it was and still is for me.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
feel Go ahead, Summer.
Another aspect of this whole thing too, I think, is us, whether we are actually really present or embodied,
Mm.
or, are we inhabiting ourselves? Like, are we fully here? Like, because to me, that's the only way that, like, parasites or parasitical energy can come in, right? Because it means that you're either not full, like you're not fully in here, right? Because if
Yeah,
you were fully inhabiting your space, nothing else could come in,
that's
right?
right.
And like I think about, like, I have a storage room in my house, and like it's just, like what a lot of people end up doing in their garage, right? It's just like a place where you put what you don't know what to do with, right?
Yep.
and it's in the dark half the time, and I don't know what's going in there half the time. There's probably mice in there pooping and peeing and you know
Yep.
and so it's just like, so that's like the metaphor for, are you really present? Are you fully in your body? Are you fully inhabiting and aware of what's happening in your house, in every room of your house? Right? Because things can happen when you're not present,
That's right.
you know?
Ooh, that's a
That's
really good point.
it sure is, I'll say.
Yep. Which is a big part of why I got so sick. I mean, so sick. Because I wasn't even in my body. I was so in my mind alone, so completely disconnected from my body that I had to be half dying before I realized anything was wrong or off. And you're right. If I had been fully in my body, I'd have been listening to the clues and the cues. I would have saw what was happening and, made those adjustments. Just, it might have been just a little twist here and there to get myself in balance again. Whereas ignoring it, it isn't until the major catastrophe happens that, it, before it gets your attention enough to do something about it. And now it's a big problem that takes years and years and years to undo. So it's very valuable, yeah, to pay attention, to be present in your life, not only your body, but your life. But I think it all starts in your body. If you can't be in your body and pay attention, then you're really not in your life either. You just aren't. At least
Right.
that's the way it was for me.
Well, yeah, see, for me, I take that back again to the programming and conditioning because when you say you're in pain, what's the first thing anybody wants to do is give you an aspirin,
Take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning.
ibuprofen, Tylenol. Yeah, don't sit there and suffer. Go to the doctor. It's immediately put in somebody else's hands, right?
You don't know what to do. Somebody will tell you.
Yeah, you need to go see somebody that's been trained. Oh, you mean somebody else that went to that memorization school?
An authority figure.
Yeah,
But we're
but
not.
believe me, once I saw what education actually is, and it's the same for all education. In my view, if you're really good at sitting down, learning how to remember things and regurgitate them, you're in. You got a piece of paper, you got it.
Yeah.
Trust me, I bet you didn't learn much of anything. Not really. At least that's
Well, no, because they're not teaching anything. If you,
except for what they want you to actually know.
which is a mess. It just leads to this one. It
Anybody
leads
who's
to the mess.
watching this and has graduated high school, I'd love to hear from you in the comments as to how much of your high schooling do you actually remember and that you actually are using. Just
Right.
curious. Even college level. Because every job you go to, there's on the job training. Why you got to be trained at your job if you went to school to learn? I don't know. It's just a question. One of those many questions when you start questioning everything that kind of comes up.
Yeah.
At least it sure did for me.
There's a lot of questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in regards to being present, Summer, you brought that one forward. Well, actually, this is for both of you because with the mind virus and everything, when we're not fully present, it does seem that there's a lot of room for something else to come and whisper sweet nothings or whatever. And it could be anything. And from each, there's lots of different avenues that it comes, ads, videos, authority figures, um, all in all different manners and ways, to take up that space and then actually begin to run your show. I mean, I personally feel like we're seeing a lot of that, what little bit I am taking a look at of what's going on out there. Seems like a lot of folks got something completely different running their show. Something I can't comprehend on any sort of level. Do you have any, what is your take on some of that for yourselves, and how do you bring it back around for yourself to be present? Are there certain things that you do, to bring yourself present? Both of you, this is really directed at both of you. Do you have anything you could share with us on the whole that, that you have found helpful?
Well, for me, I've realized that I tend to be in my head a lot. Like, Lisa was saying, like I tend to, think and plan a lot and intellectualize a lot of stuff. And also, like a lot of people, I think it tends to lend itself to kind of like floating. Your presence is more floating up on the higher areas of your body, your head mostly, and not really being present, like really embodied in your hips and your legs and your feet, of the physical body, right? And so, in my own experience, I've experienced, a lot of the um, illness or distortion in my physical health happens in my gut and in my womb space. Like those are the areas that I'm really like grappling with now. And I think it's because I have, that tendency to like be kind of floating up here for too long and not really being fully present and embodied in my lower extremities. And then, I think it also, in a more subtle way, it reflects like, oh, that's an issue. I prefer not to look at it. Like, oh, that's confusing. I'll put that away for tomorrow. It's this habit of like pushing down or just, I don't know how to deal with that. So I just won't look at it. And
Okay.
so then, and I've also heard someone say that um, a lot of times your shadow is basically just parts of your child self that is traumatized and never knew how to deal with something that it experienced or witnessed or whatever. And she, according to her, she says that, your child self is in your sacral area. That's where
Mm,
your child self resides. And so if you're
okay.
having a lot of
That
issues in
makes
the
so
sacral
much sense.
area, that can be like unhealed child aspects of yourself. And it makes sense to me too, because like when you're a child, you're so embodied, right? You're so physical, you're so like sensual, like you're really interacting with your environment so much, and expressing, if you're lucky enough to feel safe to express, then you're very expressive, right? You'll express emotions and express them on at the drop of a hat, and then the next minute it's something else. You're on to something else, and I think that that's just like the natural way of being a child,
Right.
and innocence. basically.
Mhm.
And so it makes so much sense that, issues in your sacral, it is very related to sexual shame and things like that, but also just sensual shame and being told that you're wrong or too much, or, it's just things like that. I think are kind of held in that area. Um, Things that you experienced when you were a kid that you just didn't know how to deal with. And so you are a genius and you decided, like some part of you said, oh, well, I'm going to take that away. I'm going to hide that away because you can't deal with that right now. So I'm going to protect you. I think like that's something that I come back to regularly um is it a beneficence? Is that the word? It's like this wonderful part of life that it's always trying to help you. Like your body is infinitely intelligent. It's trying to help you. Like those tumors, your body is encasing all those toxins that cannot get into these organs. It's like saying, I'm going to hold this for you right here.
Mhm.
And so, like our traumatized aspects, our shadow aspects are really just children, like huddling and, a way for you to like keep them just safe right there until you can figure out how to help them.
I
And we
love that.
forget that.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was beautiful. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I suspect you're smack on there. Um, because I know I know without a shadow of a doubt that you're definitely right for me. My very first experience with a psychic, I when she said she saw a girl of 5 years old standing to my right and a very tall man standing to my left, immediately I thought in my own head that I was projecting my 5 year old self for her to see. But I immediately shut myself down inside my own head and said, oh, that's impossible. She's a psychic medium. She's seeing somebody dead. Not, I'm alive. I'm sitting right here. That was impossible for me to do that. I no longer think that now. I know that's what I did. That was the very first thing that came to me, and it never left when I was sharing that with a friend after the fact. I even repeated what I had going on in my head to her, and I thought, I now know that is exactly so. I feel like you're right about that.
Mhm.
And I'm not quite sure what keeps us, and I'll just make sure I'm putting my hand up because I'm us, running from those aspects of ourselves. Uh, because we are the only ones that can actually rescue them.
Yeah. It's weird because it feels like all the things that we're so fearful of, well, at least in my experience, I work myself up to such a fear about something, but then when I do it, it's like, oh no, that was nothing, or that
Yeah,
was
I know.
bad as I thought it was. Like, what the heck?
I know. I honestly, I think I know what that is because it's also another programmed condition that we,
Yeah, it must be because I suffer that too. I'm a terrific awfulizer. Yeah,
me
I'll just
too.
make it so awful that I have to run from it or avoid it, like you were talking about earlier. Yeah, I can't cope with that.
Yeah, I don't got the bandwidth for that.
Nope,
So that's
not
got to stay
today.
over there.
Avoidance, yeah, avoidance. Like thinking that it's better not to know. Like that's one theme
Yeah,
that I struggle with a lot is somehow I got this idea when I was growing up or something that it's easier not to know the truth.
right.
It's like
Well, to
this,
be clear, I think you must have heard that because I think all of humanity has a problem with that right now. I really do. And I think that is exactly why.
Or maybe nobody told us that particularly in that form, but they mirrored or modeled that behavior for us. Like
Exactly.
everybody's, because you're supposed to be happy all the time. You're supposed to feel really good all the time. You're supposed to have tons of energy all the time. You have to be creative all the time. Like there isn't room in our society for feeling some kind of way.
Right.
You know, it's considered negative, and we don't have time for that. And you're a Debbie Downer, and we don't want to be around you. And, like we don't allow our humanity to be what it is.
Yep.
Which I was thinking when you were talking earlier, Summer, about being a child, and you just were fully immersed in being yourself, right? And I think of all the temper tantrums I've seen at the grocery store, because as an adult, I have wanted to fling myself across the floor and kick and scream about many things. But instead of doing that, I pretend that I'm perfectly happy. Thank you, dear, with whatever is transpiring. And, I sequester that away, sometimes not even consciously, but just because I know that how I'm feeling isn't acceptable right now. And it will be frowned upon. And could you imagine if the adults were also flinging themselves on the floor at the restaurant?
You know what? If we had a few adults flinging themselves around, maybe we'd see what the hell's going on and everybody would get a grip on themselves. I don't know, but
I
I'm
think we
for
all
it.
need to make time for that in our lives, though.
I
Like
think
Yeah,
so
somehow.
let's
too.
fling ourselves on the floor and roll around.
Yeah, I'm in.
Can't just keep being just polite and like, oh, I can't
Uh-huh.
express this now because,
No.
that too becomes, I think, illness because we're
Yes,
unexpressed.
that's
We
it.
keep pushing it down,
And I've learned it lives in your organs. These different emotions go to different places.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so I'm sitting here with splenomegalia and, autoimmune hepatitis and primary biliary cholangitis. So this is anger at myself and the world at large that didn't get expressed, and it's clogging up, gumming up the works, causing a big problem for my life. And the spleen holds worry. And
Hmm.
then I worry about the condition of my body and my world because I'm mad at it. It's like, these organs are telling the story to me. It's reflecting what I don't want to acknowledge within me, if that makes any sense.
Oh, perfect.
Can't acknowledge anger because I've watched people lose themselves to anger, and especially in my family, and it destroyed lives, many of them. And so that's not a safe thing to express. So hence the
Mm.
liver issues. And then I worried my whole life about the anger and the conditions that the anger created, and how's everybody going to turn out, and how safe are we? And that's all trying to show me now that those emotions have to be dealt with, because if they aren't, they're gonna get to a crisis moment where I have no other choice, apparently, but to deal with them. So, I just loved the way that you put the embodiment piece out there, Summer, because that really is the solution to everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being present and dealing with what is actually going on right now, and in a way that is helpful and not harmful. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But I,
I feel as though that is the answer, actually,
Mhm,
is
it is.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it has been for me. And on that front, I have been working with this technique I've developed. I'll say am developing because it's coming along. It's a work in progress for sure. But I've in part of my attempts at embodiment, I am trying to sit with emotions. Like, okay, so I saw, mm, I want to say early on in life, with my weight, I've struggled my whole life. And I've been in and out of all kinds of doctors and treatment programs and Overeaters Anonymous and Weight Watchers and all the like. And then I want to say gag and crazy fad diets that, whatever the latest and greatest tech everybody's using to lose weight fast, routine. And one thing I've noticed is that often it isn't, and now I'm going to quote a movie, it isn't what I was eating so much as what was eating me. Like I was using food as a way to avoid and to suppress the emotions I wasn't comfortable with. So I ate instead. And now I'm sitting with them and just being with them. Like, don't reach for the Doritos and M&Ms or a pint of ice cream. And we've seen it in all the movies too. Somebody has a breakup and the first thing they do is grab a pint of ice cream and eat it right out of the container. Like we were taught this, that you suppress your negative emotions with some kind of something, or else it's the drinking or the drugs or whatever avoidance technique is most comfortable to you. So instead of doing those things, I'm practicing allowing the emotion just to be there and to notice it. Like just feel it. Oh, so what does it feel like? And then I've added this piece recently, so I'm going to share it. Now I will describe it to myself. What am I feeling? Because see, I used to create a narrative around it. Like I'd notice I had more a month at the end of my money. And so I would, instead of just
I love the way
acknowledge
you said that.
the truth of that scenario, I would say, I never have enough money. I'm always broke. I
Mm.
can never get ahead. And those are very creationary thoughts. And I really don't want to create my reality with those thoughts anymore. So I had to come to terms with it's not enough just not to say those things to me. I mean, to engage in the storytelling, the awfulizing, I like to call it, um, and then suppress it, right? Because then it comes out sideways as disease. But rather to sit with it and then describe it to myself. This is the new piece right here. In neutral terms. So like just a couple of words. What am I feeling? Behind the fact that I have more a month than money. And so then, looking at the emotional state it puts me in. So like I'll say frustrated. I feel frustrated that I'm blocked from doing something I really want to do, like so I feel frustrated, I feel blocked. And then I sit with those words and I say, okay, now how true is this statement? How blocked am I really? Like just getting down, burrowing down into the root of what it is that I'm feeling and just identifying it has helped me greatly because sometimes I've invented a story that isn't even true. And I've actually created a scenario um, that I now get to walk into tomorrow too. right? Like I've spent all today feeling it, but because I've rehearsed it and awfulized it, now tomorrow I have to experience it again. And just playing with how can I rephrase this for myself? What's my true situation? And what is fear? False evidence appearing real. So I feel like I'm blocked because I can't spend dollars doing something right now, but I have to question myself, is spending dollars the only way to get what I want or need right now? And no, it isn't. And practicing allowing myself to be the true abundance that I really am has changed everything for me. I actually have an abundance of everything. So it's what am I looking at? Am I looking at the lack of a thing? Or am I looking at the thing is here, it's within me, and I can have it? The abundance of the thing. And so 9 times out of 10, I actually, I've even discovered like money somewhere in the house, or I forgot that I had a couple of $100 in my Cash App that just now I just forgot that it was in there. Like, so the reality of having no money wasn't even true. It was just really a story I was telling myself. And when I drill down, I can very quickly, like now I'm doing it really quick, releasing that old story that I'm holding or the negative charge, and then pivot to the positive charge. And like instantly ideas come to me, or the thing itself shows up, or I'm walking along and there it is. So those are things that were always in my environment. I was blocking myself from even seeing them. So that's helping me to unblock myself by just feeling that emotion, like acknowledging what it is and then challenging it. Like, do I really believe in this? Or what's the truth about this scenario for myself?
Yep.
And defining
Questioning
it for
everything.
me. What's that?
I said questioning
Questioning
everything.
everything. Yes, even the things I tell myself.
Yep.
Yeah. Even the things
Yeah.
I think are real because I'm really feeling it. But oftentimes they're, just like what I could really identify with what you said about, oh, this is too hard. I can't think about this right now. And then it becomes this big, heavy, scary thing that's
Mhm.
just like this weight that I carry. And then when I face it and I do 5 or 10 minutes worth of something, and it's generally that easy, like you were saying. And then I go, oh, wow, like I wonder why that felt so heavy because it was
Because you were
nothing.
putting it off, and that's why it felt so heavy, right? It
That's
was
the heavy thing. Yeah. So don't do
like
that.
just it's like
Yeah.
pushing you from behind, It's like pushing you from behind instead of you coming at it, straight away and looking at.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lisa used to say, and I love it, face and embrace,
Yep.
Hmm.
because that's
Well,
a real
and
thing.
yes, and for me that came because I was watching a toddler play with their shadow. And the thing was, when you're facing it, you realize it's you, right? And you start to play with it, and you're like, oh, look, it's waving. Oh, now it's dancing. You know, um, oh, look, now it's an alligator. Whatever. Um, you have control of it. You can make it light and funny, or you could say, look, it's a big monster. But because you're facing the shadow itself, you understand it's a shadow and I'm casting it. Um, it's when you turn your back on it, like, oh, I can't deal with you. That's scary. I don't. And you turn around now because it's actually being cast by your body. It is chasing you as you run away. And I know that that movie, Soul, portrayed it so perfectly that
Yes.
our shadows really are just the, like you were saying, Summer, the parts of ourselves that we haven't been able to face. And they look bigger and they feel scarier than what they really are if you can just face them and embrace them. Do it, have a little dance, make them do something funny. And you'll see that it never had any power over you. It certainly had no control over you. You have control over the shadow. And that feels totally different. It's a different experience altogether.
Yeah. And when you allow yourself to look at things and see the truth of things, face things, you are empowering yourself. Otherwise, you're disempowering yourself by not looking at it, thinking like, oh, and I think the root for me of that pattern is because at some point when I was young or something, I felt like it's too scary to know the truth. Like I
Yeah.
like it'll be scary and I don't like being scared.
Right.
I don't want to be. I
Yeah.
remember last year when first started really having, these physical issues come to a head. I thought I was passing a kidney stone because
Mm-hmm.
my especially my left kidney was like it would just it was like cramping or something. It felt like it was cramping.
Right.
And I mean, the kidneys are associated with fear, right? The emotion of
Oh,
fear.
okay. Thank you for that. I did not know that.
And oh my gosh, in the ensuing days for a couple days, I had these sensations, and it actually kept me up all night because it was like, and then of course I got freaked out, like, oh my God. And I started researching, like, what do I do about kidney stones? And like, and so I did all the things to try to help my body pass it. It didn't end up being one that I know of because I didn't pass anything, but all the fear and like the unknowing, like what's happening with my body, like it's so, that I think that just freaked me out. And oh my gosh, I could literally feel my kidneys like releasing adrenaline, like, and then the next
Oh,
day my kidneys hurt so bad, they're so sore. And so it's things like that where you are literally afraid of what's happening and you don't know how to deal with it. Like it's
yeah.
that kind of feeling. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. And you know what? That happened to me in the hospital. My kidneys hurt so bad when I would be in the hospital, and I thought it was the bed. The hospital bed is not a comfortable place to be for
Yeah.
days on end, and you're stuck in this bed, right? And now that you say that, I was up all night worried. I was afraid for myself. And so that makes perfect sense. And that squeezing that you're talking about and the adrenaline, I had all of that. Thank you for sharing that story. Oh, yes, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So here we are creating our whole experience with our minds, our opinion on the subject.
Yeah. Well, I
Why?
want to thank you both for bringing all of that forward because for one thing, it's helping me see where that larger part of me
Hmm.
that because for all of, I want to say 2023 and 2024, over and over and over again, the advice for me was to relax into me,
Mhm.
Yeah.
relax into me, that I, the larger me has this in hand. Got this in hand, know what we're doing. You just stay in the frame of mind of just knowing all will be well.
All is
is
well.
well. Well, it was a really tall order then, but I really feel as though, and especially hearing both of you share that right now and where I am in these moments of now with my health. Um, keeping that in the forefront to know, because the other part of that advice from the larger part of me too was because I was holding things as though I had made this mistake and that mistake, and I don't know why this is happening. Again, the same thing with the whole oxygen thing. I've been really hard on
Yes, I can
myself
relate.
in regards to this whole little episode here. Because of everybody on the planet that should know about water, it's Sheila. And so, because, well, private joke, I've been called the water Nazi.
Hmm.
Um, but the truth of the matter is, what I then was shown too was that my body was the one that was shutting down my water intake, not me. I wasn't in charge of that. The body was, and that there was a good reason for it. We discovered that the Kangen machine was loaded with mold. So we were literally drinking mold.
Yeah.
So,
And at the end there, it was like your throat just wanted to close when you would put
yes,
that water bottle to your mouth. I was going through the same thing.
yes, it felt like there were shards of glass in that water.
Oh
Yes.
no.
Yes,
No, it
because
literally hurt to swallow. It was a very bizarre sensation.
so here I am receiving the message, relax into self. We got this. And label stuff however you want to, but that doesn't mean what you've labeled it is correct, right? And still, I didn't see it. I didn't get it, you know. So I'm very grateful to both of you for bringing that forward because I do, I get it now, and we'll see what the next little bits to transpire as, but um that I think is important for me personally to know that the larger part of me wants me to know that they got this. Now, I can't make a mistake. If I feel like it's a mistake, that's fine. Feel about it however you want, I guess, but that's not what's going on here. So I think it's more important that I question everything that I think I know, you know, and realize that all is well, regardless of what it looks like. Because it doesn't look like it's all that well to me.
No, I know. Remember when we lived at Evelyn and I kept saying, we're all right.
Yes,
We're all right. That was my mantra because it was terrifying living.
right. No, you're so
We
right.
had such a terrible, for those of you not in the know,
Right.
we we had a terrible mold infestation and we were having trouble finding a suitable way out of there and a place to go. And so yeah, panic wanted to set in. It was a tough time
Yeah, it really was.
physically, yeah, and emotionally too. But um, you know, luckily, even then, I was questioning things and allowing my body to show me what I needed to do. And when I couldn't drink the water, I asked myself why finally. And all of a sudden, I could smell the mold. I couldn't smell it before then. I just couldn't. And I guess I was nose blind. And once I smelled it, I couldn't unsmell it.
Right, same. Because once you pointed it
Well,
out to
I
me,
asked Sheila, can you smell the mold? And she said, what mold?
Yeah,
And she was super defensive, and I was like, she can, but she's denying it, just
yeah,
like I did.
I was in denial about it, I suppose. But
Yeah,
as
I
soon
was
as you said
too.
it, I could. That was the weird thing. And we tried our best to mitigate it with that machine. An entire year
Yeah,
spent trying to mitigate that.
yeah.
Um,
I learned a lot from that whole experience. Like
yeah,
you were
same.
getting back to, you think it's a mistake or whatever. Because I was feeling that way about not being able to drink my water. And so I kept asking myself, how come? Because I feel thirsty and I want to drink, but I cannot make myself drink water. Why is that? And then that's when I could smell it.
Right.
Like I had to have a moment with myself and tune in and ask because I had kind of pushed it aside and just kept drinking. I think I was just nose blind to it because it was in the house. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, because the whole house
Yeah. And
had
it,
that
and I
issue.
think it was the act of asking
Mhm.
that highlighted for me, I
Yeah,
needed to do that.
I think you're right.
So that's a great tool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ask
that's what I
yourself
say.
questions.
Question everything, every single thing. Now, I want to I'd love to go back to something that Summer brought forward as well, in regards to um the sacral. And
Okay.
I've always felt like between the sacral and the solar plexus,
Hmm.
those two, and possibly this may have to do with the eventual joining, because I feel like there's going to be, it's always felt like that to me, like those two come up and
Consolidate somehow.
yes, and focused through the heart chakra to create reality as we walk, as we breathe, as we move, right? They're all involved. All of those energy centers are involved. And I'm thinking now, right this moment, Lisa, that may be what I keep being shown, may be what you were told in regards to them coming into one. And so that may be, it's probably the exact same thing, but this is my way of, because of the way I see it in my mind's
Yeah.
eye,
Yeah.
like all the chakras, and then coming through the heart chakra to create in our, toroidal field as we breathe, move, whatever, right? Um, because I personally was told that I had a governor or something in that area that was keeping me from creating, right? There was a seer or a psychic or somebody who was looking at me and gave me that information, right? Just recently, some of the Jason's writings actually speak to what I feel is that,
Okay.
that has to do with that. And so I feel, and I don't know, again, this is just an assumption, but I feel as though as we fully embody all of those, including those lower chakra areas, which you alluded to before, Summer, once we get good at being present in the whole of us, I feel like that's when um, we will see how it is that we create as we move.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, like that will really be known to us because there is, from what I read, and I recorded it for the channel, the RZN series. To me, and I think I might have alluded to it in the recording too, because that's what I was being shown. Again, as I was reading it, that what he was referring to is what I've been shown as the governor on the power center of the human vessel, of how we create as we move. Right? I don't know why, but I felt to bring that forward, Summer, because I feel you're onto something there about the full embodiment of being present. No governor is going to come off of any creator being until they're fully present. Because can you imagine a bunch of
Thank goodness.
half-ass creator beings not really knowing what the hell they're doing, wandering around on this planet?
Well, that's what we've been doing this whole
Yeah.
time, right?
That's
I
the mess
know.
we're in.
Which explains the
Yeah, I can
containment
imagine.
field,
It's pretty heinous,
which is
actually.
exactly why it explains the containment field that so
The
many have
governor.
alluded to
Right.
because of that very thing.
Mhm.
I feel like when you're completely inhabiting your space, then there can be no squatters, right? And that kind of leads back to the parasite thing because they say like if you have a lot of parasites, that's why you feel endlessly attracted to the sugar and the grain, the breads and the, this and that. And actually like, I feel like also if you have a lot of that going on, it's blocking your connection with spirit. Like it's harder to connect. It's harder to feel clear about what you're doing and why and all that stuff because you've been hijacked basically. Some other, something else is really
Running the
running
show.
the show.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's kind of like probably the whole point, right? I mean, they say like a lot of uh the um parasites are coming in through processed foods
Yes.
and things like that, right?
Mhm.
So I don't want to say that it's intentional, but I think it's intentional.
Well, it sure feels that way.
Yeah, from all intents and purposes, it looks that
Because
way
it's
too.
not a one-off here and there. It is, it's a bombardment.
As you learn about food scientists creating things, you kind of, I'm sorry, but that kind of is right there out in the open. That's, trying to trick your brain into this, that, or the other
Yeah,
kind
they're
of feels
replicating
intentional.
food. It isn't real food. The
No.
planet makes real food.
Yeah.
And
Right.
factories and engineers replicate food.
Yeah.
And I was walking through the grocery store, circa 2010 maybe, and I'm pushing my cart and I'm listening to the music, and I'm like, you know what? I'm Barbie. I am in a plastic store. I'm looking at food boxes, food-like products, boxes with pictures of food on it. But I knew that I was looking at the cake mixes. But I knew on the other side of the picture was some powder and plastic that you add water to. And miraculously, it's cake. And you could stick it in the microwave. Remember those cakes? It came
Oh
in a
my
little
God.
paper. And I was like, this is Barbie world. Everything here is plastic and pictures of the real thing, but nothing here is real. I
Right.
mean, even the produce, really, especially back then, I was having this crisis where tomatoes were not tasting like tomatoes. It was just like I was coming to the realization that even the produce didn't taste like it did from my childhood. Like I remember when a tomato had a very distinct flavor. And anymore, the tomatoes are flavorless
Yeah.
unless you can find somebody growing heirloom. And then you can tell the difference. And it's not the same from my childhood because there's too much going on now, even with our soil. I feel like we can't even reinvent how flavorful things were in my childhood. I feel like we've lost some ground there because of contamination even.
Yeah.
But it's like every decade we're just getting farther and farther away from nature and the way things were, originally designed for, food. And I can't unsee that we're just living in this plastic fake world. And of course, our health went out the window when we started eating
Right.
cake out of boxes. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to think about, but it just hit me all at once that this whole environment, this isn't the way humans are supposed to live. We're not supposed to go to the grocery store and push our little carts and then put the fake food in and take it home and add water and stir and pop it in the microwave.
Well, I do know that when I first learned about GMOs and all of that, which happened for me in 2013, between 2013 2014.
Yeah.
And I took myself off of everything fake, all sugar, no more bread, no more nothing. I was eating grass-fed beef and vegetables. Only that was it. That's all I was eating.
Yeah.
It was the healthiest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it
I'm
is
getting back to that
reversing
myself.
all the mess. So
Mhm.
I don't wish to give it up at all.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't if I were you because it's
No.
really hard once you go back to that again. Because you're
Well, I
right,
think I would die very quickly.
I
Like,
I I think the parasites do run the show. I
mm,
freely admit I've been because then I found out the butterfly. You could find stuff. I found crackers, and then all of a sudden now there's bread that's got the butterfly, and so you can find organic and non-GMO project verified bread and crackers, and it's
oh,
all right back for me to where I was prior.
I learned about tiger nuts today.
Oh, did you now?
Oh, I've heard of them. Remind
Yeah.
me, what are
Well,
those?
apparently it's the most obnoxious weed in the whole world, and this country and our scientists have been working to eradicate it off the face of the earth for quite some time now. And actually, it's what pharaohs feasted on. It kept pharaohs alive forever. And there's actually pharaohs that were buried with the tiger nuts to feed them in the afterworld because it's so healthy and nutritious. They grow, they're the hardiest plant ever, and they grow in abundance. So, like one plant, it's a tuber, is what it is. Okay, but think tiny tuber. It kind
Now,
of
I
looks like nut, but they're underground, and from one tuber, it sends out other plants. And so it's very highly invasive and it takes over.
okay,
But
we need to find
actually,
that.
it's a superfood. It feeds the biome. It nourishes with more vitamins and minerals than anything we're eating today.
Okay, we got to find that thing.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you could eat the grass. I don't know, but it looks like a grass.
Yeah, we got to
Huh.
find that because I also learned recently about Jerusalem or what they call sunchokes or Jerusalem artichokes, also a
Not
tuber,
heard of that one.
also highly nutritious. and apparently delicious.
Jerusalem artichokes.
Yeah, very easy to grow, apparently.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
they,
these guys grow in drought, in sand, and it's so
yeah.
I'm purchasing some because I thought in an emergency state we could grow them and
Yeah.
we'd have enough food and everything we'd need for life there.
Hey, there you go.
Also, and they got a little bit of sugar. They're sweet.
Okay.
So apparently they make the best bread.
Oh
So
my.
I want to also get the flour
Okay.
and see what I can't do with
Yes, and
that.
I know where we can get the flour. Uh,
What?
yes, Anthony's.
Yes,
Um,
no, that I found it already. Yes, it is
yeah, because
Anthony. Yes,
I remembered seeing it offered at
'cause
Anthony's.
I looked it up. So I'm going to be
Yeah,
playing with that. I'm very excited.
Cool.
yeah,
That and the cassava, I'd like to mix them together and do bread.
yeah. I think
Right
I'd
that
on.
might
love
be
to do a
something that we're going to be
sourdough with
doing.
it.
I think very soon. I mean, very soon. Uh, I would like to be able to do some more things.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how to record on my iPhone,
Okay.
but and because all we have are the web cameras, but I would like to eventually have an actual camera that records because I think Lisa could do some cooking stuff
Oh, I'd love
for
to.
us and share on the channel. So I'm just going to put it out there. If anybody
Yeah,
has an old camera that you're not using that will record video,
well,
hit
then
me
you gotta
up.
teach us how to use it.
Yeah, you'd have to teach us how to use it.
I bought one once and I couldn't figure it out. It was like a GoPro, but not. It was from Aldi's.
Right.
But
So it'd have
remember,
to
we
come
could
with some
never figure out how
tutorial.
to use it.
Yes, that's true. So yeah, there's a little bit of old people
They're
got to teach
tricky.
old people how to use stuff, but
Yeah. But yeah, I would love to do that because I've been exploring with lots of things like the marshmallows and the
and the ginger
yogurt
snap cookies
and also my cassava goodies. I have
Mhm.
many cassava goodies. And these are all things I'm trying to recreate things from, my childhood that I enjoyed eating that I can't eat anymore because it's made in factories by engineers. And I'm tailoring them. I'm choosing my ingredients list to make sure that they feed my microbiome and that they're loaded with nutrition so that it's actually a part of my diet and not something that, I can't
That
have but
you're
once a month.
cheating
What-
on. It's not something you're cheating with,
That's
you know.
right.
That's right.
That's right.
No, I'm nourishing and feeding myself with it.
That's right. Exactly.
And that's really exciting and fun. That has
Yeah.
I've because I've dieted my whole life, and so I've had this love-hate relationship with food. I'm a foodie, and I love to eat, and I love to explore flavors and um, from all over the world.
Yes,
Like
I think you told me you came to this planet for the food.
I did.
Yeah.
I grew up thinking that I came to this planet for the food.
It
Um,
is one of the chief
biodiverse.
pleasures of being
Yes,
human, isn't
that's
it?
right.
Yes, it is. But
Yeah.
then I also hated it because of what it was doing to my body. And then the things that I absolutely loved and adored were atrocious from my well-being. And so now I'm consciously working to marry the two. I'm creating healthy, delicious food, and it's got me excited and happy about food again. So
Yeah. I
I would
love
love
it.
to share that with the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
That'd
want to
be
thank
awesome.
you both for coming and doing this with me
Oh,
again.
thank
I
you.
just love it that you guys make the time to have
Mhm.
these conscious conversations.
I love them.
And
Yeah, me too. Thank you for the invite.
well, you know us, Summer, we'd love to have you. So anytime and every time and all the time,
Yeah.
just let us know. And I put that out, I'll put that out there again to the world at large. If you would like to come and join us for a conscious conversation, hit me up, consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com. And if you have anything, if you want to get something to either one of these ladies for the moment, you can send that through to me as well, and I'll make sure that it gets to them. And I also would love to hear from you in the comments. Anything that you would like to share or feel about any of what we've had to say. I will also just say for the record, none of what you've heard during this conscious conversation is intended to be taken as medical advice. It's only experience that each one of us has had and our thoughts and feelings about those experiences. If you have any kind of issues or anything like that, I always advocate that you look into you for you, because you really are your own expert. You may not think that, but you are. And if you get to the point where you feel like you need to be seen, by all means, be seen. So I just wanted to say that. Let's see. Is there anything else? Am I leaving something out? I guess not. Thank you guys so much. Till
Yeah,
next time.
thank you. Love to everyone. Till next time.